Seahawks today, back for a second time today as we have another big update on Geno Smith. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. The news coming out this afternoon from ESPN's Adam Schefter that Geno Smith's $12.7 million contract will become fully guaranteed for the 2024 season tomorrow. More from Schefter in his report. Seahawks QB Geno Smith, who has $12.7 million in his contract that becomes fully guaranteed on Friday, was informed today that he will remain on the roster through this week. Let me pause there for a second. What's the key words there? He'll remain on the roster through this week. Okay? There's more to come here. Allowing that money to trigger, sources tell ESPN the $12.7 million now converts from injury guaranteed to fully guaranteed money, assuring that Smith will collect the money. Now, wait, there's more. The Seahawks believe that in today's market, with salaries soaring for starting quarterbacks, the right decision was to pay the money per sources. Now, Geno Smith will represent a value to them or any other team that decides to reach out to see if they can acquire Smith via trade. Let me pause there 1 second, too. The Seahawks are open for business. They are willing to take phone calls on a potential Geno Smith trade. That's what that tweet says here, folks. Here's the rest of it. But Seattle now has locked in Smith, and Smith has locked in his $12.7 million. First off, this is the right move to give Geno his money and to keep him around at least for the moment. And the biggest reason why, even if you were going to move on from Geno Smith, you wouldn't want him to walk away for nothing. You would at least like to trade him and get something out of him. Now, we hear that Geno and the Seahawks are open for business, that he could be traded, that it is a possibility. They didn't say to Geno, you're on our roster for 2024. They said you're on our roster for this week, and that's a very important distinction here. Here's a few things you need to know in this situation. Now that salary is guaranteed at $12.7 million. They don't have to pay him all of what they could have been paying him, though, as Geno missed out on all his performance-based roster bonuses from last season. Now, there's another roster bonus coming. That is March 18th for close to $10 million. We have this trade window essentially between now and then. If the Seahawks are going to trade Geno Smith, they need to do so before that deadline, just over a month essentially, to shop Geno Smith or take phone calls on him if they want to. Because you look at what's ahead now. Yes, Geno's salary is basically $13 million fully guaranteed, but the important number is what counts against the cap, and that's $31.2 million that is associated there of his cap number. So, now let's ask you, will the Seahawks trade Geno Smith? Why for yes? In for no. Our pinned comment today, what is going to happen here? Weigh in the comment section. Tell us what you think. Folks, this is why you subscribe to Seahawks Today. Bring you 2 videos on a Thursday afternoon. Why? Because we're built different around here. We're keeping you up to speed with the latest happenings in your favorite team. Geno gets traded. You know we're going live and we'll bring you content here on Seahawks Today. We're just 200 subs away now from reaching our next milestone of 50,000 subscribers. Folks, you got to join us for the party here on Seahawks Today. The latest happenings in your favorite team, we got you covered. No one else covers your Seattle Seahawks like we do here on Seahawks Today. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/Seahawks TV. Join the family. Let's get to 50K in subs today. So, now here's what we're looking at. Seahawks have till roughly March 17th to get a deal done before that roster bonus kicks in at midnight the next day on March 18th. So we have a new countdown clock, essentially. Now, the next question then becomes, what is the trade value for a guy like Geno Smith? Well, he's in his 30s now, and realistically, I think the best-case scenario of a potential trade is getting like a third-round pick. I heard some comparisons to the trade Sam Bradford got involved with the Eagles several years ago, and that included a first-round pick. Geno's played better than what Sam did back then, but the quarterback market now is way different than it was back then. I mean, Baker Mayfield got traded a couple years ago from the Cleveland Browns for a 5th-round pick. And we saw Sam Darnold a couple years ago get traded for a 2nd-round pick. So it's kind of all over the place. I think with the age and with 2 years of tape, basically, probably about a 3rd-round pick is what you're hoping for if you're going to move on from Geno Smith. Geno's resume, what he's done the last 2 seasons, he's compiled a 17-15 overall record as the Seahawks starter, did take them to the postseason in 2022. And that's where really the magic was made for Geno Smith last year, was when he set 4 franchise records, won the NFL's Comeback Player of the Year award last season when he threw for 30 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. And whether it's the Seahawks hanging on to Geno Smith or somebody making a trade for Geno Smith, based on the numbers that you're seeing, you're not getting a franchise quarterback right now, but you are getting a bridge quarterback. If somebody makes the trade for Geno, then they're doing the same thing. They're putting themselves in the same position the Seahawks are in, where they're buying time until they bring in their franchise quarterback. That's kind of the situation the Seahawks find themselves in. And so I like Geno. Personally, I think that Geno is a good stopgap until you find your franchise quarterback. You could still even keep Geno around this next season. You don't have to trade him. You can keep him around and draft your young quarterback and let them sit behind Geno Smith. We talked about that earlier in the day, that has been a great success plan for lots of quarterbacks across the National Football League over the years. More to come on Geno in just a second, but first, got a great deal we're offering Seahawks fans right now. Seahawks hats on sale. Chatsports.com for Seahawks hats. And some of these hats, these are only a few of them. We have plenty more to choose from, are on sale for up to 50% off just for a limited time. Also offering some free shipping as well on several of these hats. Chatsports.com/Seahawks hats to get yours today. Go check that out and see all the selection there is to choose from. There's plenty of them out there, and you will not want to miss out the opportunity to get your hands on one of these. Chatsports.com/Seahawks hats. Link is in the comments and description of today's video. Go check them out for yourself and get one today. All right, so let's go back to this report a while back from Brady Henderson of ESPN, of what he had to say as far as John Schneider and the situation involving Geno Smith, kind of the thoughts in the building. Henderson said this: Schneider's tepid assessment of Smith's play in 2023 stood in contrast to how Carroll often spoke of him, repeatedly deflecting blame from the quarterback and at one point calling him one of his all-time favorite guys. That is a very different tone than what we heard from Pete Carroll. As we usher in this new era of Seahawks football, it is very different, right? Of Pete Carroll and Geno Smith. Pete and Geno had a great relationship. Geno was Pete's guy, right? He's never been John Schneider's guy. And Mike Macdonald hasn't said that he's committing to Geno Smith, that that's his guy. And you can't really blame him because he's the new guy in town. And so now what is the next question? What is the most likely scenario? How does this all play out? I still think at the moment, Geno Smith and Drew Lock are both back next year. But these things can change quickly. And we've seen these things change quickly. Maybe it's a situation where the Seahawks weren't expecting one of the top quarterbacks in the draft to fall in their lap at 16. Maybe they find a situation where they get to trade up that they weren't expecting to get to do. I mean, maybe they get a trade offer for Geno Smith that they simply just can't refuse. That's better than they expected. That one team heard that they were interested in moving on from Geno, and they said, I got a deal for you. Because we had heard last offseason that there were teams interested in Geno Smith, and the Seahawks didn't even let that happen before free agency opened. That particularly the Jets, their backup plan, if they weren't going to get Aaron Rodgers, they were interested in bringing Geno back potentially. So a lot could change, a lot could unfold here, but for now, I think that's what we're looking at. Now the question becomes, what do you feel about Geno right now? You've seen 2 years of tape of what he's been a part of this organization. Do you believe in the guy? Do you believe in Geno Smith? Let me know what you think. B for believe, D for don't. Is Geno your guy or not? Let me know. Subscribe now for the latest happenings on your favorite team. Let's get to 50,000 subs today. I don't want to wait another day longer. Help us out. Subscribe now. Anything happens on Geno, we're going to cover it here on Seahawks Today. Lock us in. We'll see you next time.